So the technology obviously is an important part, and what I've not done today is gone into any of the detail of our solution specifically. It's not something we overlook. It's something we are very committed to make sure this flexibility is there. And that's from the 10 years plus of systems management history we have as an organization. So you've seen some of the taste today of how we approach, but within the solution, come and see us on stand 32, have a look at the detail of the solution and see how we can address your organization for PC power management, for services delivery, and also for user awareness and promotion of efficiency through all the different types of capabilities that we have. At that point, thank you for your time and open up for any individual questions.
I've got one quick question.
Okay.
How does it deal with encryption on devices? Hard drive encryption. And if you're talking about sort of turning a device on, downloading updates in the small hours of the day, for instance, how can it get around encryption? We're getting increasing problems by having encryption on devices.
Okay, so the question is how we're dealing with encryption on devices, and I assume specifically if we're powering off a device, it comes back up, you're going to need a password to bring that system in. Now that's definitely a challenge. We see that a lot more in mobile devices rather than desktop type devices. So we can have two variations of that. We can have organizations that will look to physically power off devices or maybe go to a more of a hibernation state to devices that are within the organization that are less susceptible to requiring the password beyond there. For laptop devices, it's a different type of scenario. There's energy to be saved and there's cost to be saved on those devices, but not as much and not in the same way as we would with desktop systems. Laptop devices are more suitable for standby type approaches where the encryption doesn't kick in because the operating system isn't reloading. So we could look within there to focus more on standby, but actually as well looking power management isn't just turning systems off. Power management is putting them into the appropriate state at that time. So a technology perspective within here is recognizing when a system is not being used and lowering the power consumption rate for that device. Now if you think about your laptop, you can manually move it into a low power state to save battery life. Now, the operational use of that system is a mobile device, and it's only productive for as long as that battery lasts, especially if you're mobile. So they're a potential target to target low power modes rather than power down or power off modes. So that's some of the ways in which we look to address that. Hope that answers your question.
Do you differentiate between a relatively low power consumption device and a high power consumption device, i.e. a fairly simple PC versus a high-end PC? And also in terms of what they're actually doing while they're on, i.e. browsing the web is very different to video editing on those two machines. Obviously the power consumption is significantly different. How do you accommodate that?
Without going into a lot of detail, the answer is yes, to being able to take that into account. So simple levels is understanding the difference between makes and models, for example. So high-end desktops, high-end servers or workstation compared to low-power slimline systems can be identified, and different consumption rates identified between those as well. So the system does know what's running on there and can adjust what's actually being calculated for those systems. So there's very different options within there which we could discuss.
So it's monitoring the actual activity while it's on?
If we know what's being used, we can also look at this. So there's different ways in which it can be handled within there. So obviously, it's still educated calculations because there's nothing so far within devices that gives you a true calculation of actual consumption for the entire device. So it's intelligent calculations at the moment. Okay.
So thanks for the question. What sort of reports do you produce to say, can we prove back to the business how much money you're saving?
Well, I mean, metrics is key. There's no point sending something out if you don't know if it's reached, if you don't know it's been applied, and you don't know what benefits within there. So we feel that's one of the areas that we excel within there. One of our earliest partners was European Commission, and metrics was absolutely key to them. And as such, we have over 100 different reports into the solution to be able to understand the scale of the issue that we have, the potential solutions we could have within there, predictions of savings, but especially to prove the actual savings within carbon, energy, and the cost itself as well. So that's an area, lots of ways to analyse that system. From an overall reporting perspective, live dashboards, dashboards that can be customer facing, and also you see just a small shot there as well, providing information to the end users themselves about their levels of efficiencies, suggesting things that they could be doing to act more efficiently as well. So reporting has many different aspects to it, and we're not satisfied, we haven't covered everything, but we feel we've covered that a lot.
Another one about you talked at the beginning about perceptions, and obviously being seen to be doing this as much as actually doing it. What are the interfaces with the actual users, end users, people at their desks? What do they see of this? Are they aware of this happening apart from the machine obviously switching down maybe more effectively? But are they getting any feedback, or is there any control that they have? Any engagement?
It's a good question. I mean, involving the users is an important part. And it depends on the stage of the project that you're at. Actually, in initial stages, where possible, we recommend they don't know anything about it, because trying to understand the baseline of normal behavior, and if we let the users know at that point, they may change that standard behavior while you're looking at it. That's the only time really where we look at a silent phase where the users know nothing of what's happening. When you're looking to implement something, users must know. They need to know that something's going to happen. Because if you are in IT, you're going to get those calls when their PC does something it's never done before. So notification, involvement of the users has various different aspects to it. Whether it be simply from temporarily opting out, or if they know their system needs to be left on or they're going to do something, they could go to a presentation mode, for example. They can see, for example, what the next settings, what the upcoming settings for the systems are going to be, because it's something that goes based off day, time of the day, etc. So it's flexible. But notifying the user of, and this is something we can enable or disable, because different organizations want more or less, we can be notifying users of lost savings. Even if our power management kicks in, we can notify them that we did that, what we saved, but what could they have saved had they done this manually? So help to educate them to go above and beyond what our policies do. Let them know what we've saved for them and what they've saved for them. So giving them efficiency scores, so they can rate their own behavior and compare their efficiency levels to their peers within the organization as well. So good visibility can be provided to the level that you want to the organization. And even independently from the PC power management pure is efficiency messages. So we call it the tip of the day, but really promoting other types of efficiency drives, notifying users of other types of activities, whether it's simply turning lights off at the end of the day, driving more carefully, saving fuel, whatever it is that you want to be doing within there, this can be a conduit to provide that information out there as well. So make them feel part of it so that they're more likely to take part and promote this as well. Now, we're delivering and enforcing policies to, as far as possible, remove the reliance on human intervention, but it's always good to include the human aspect as well and get their buy-in. And that's an important part of involving them, giving the ability to opt in, know what's happening, postpone, cancel, or voluntarily take part. So lots of ways to do that. Okay, I think that's all the time we've got. So thank you very much for your time today. I hope it was useful. And don't forget, we're on stand 32, and we look forward to seeing you there.